Sunfish HRSS has a powerful payroll feature that enables users to process monthly payroll payment, bonus, festive holiday allowance, and etc. Payroll Cycle in Sunfish HRSS is a series of activities that must be performed by paymaster in a period of time. This video will show you how the payroll cycle is. Payroll cycle is divided into 8 steps: employee data update, interface process, payroll process, payroll reports, bank transfer, payslip, payroll journal, and close period. The first thing the authorized users need to do in payroll cycle is updating the employee data. To begin with, go to payroll, employee payroll data. By then, you will see the record of employee payroll data. Click the employee number link to edit the employee payroll data. Afterwards, the edit employee payroll data will appear. You can edit the payroll data of selected employee here. Select Use Payroll Template to use Payroll Template setting for employee payroll data, and you need to select Payroll Template to set the template that will be used. Choose the payroll template from the available options. Input employee basic salary along with the currency. Select tax flag if the employee payroll will be taxed. Determine whether the salary will be received gross or net. Gross means that the salary tax borne by the employee. Net means that the salary tax borne by the company. Input the tax location and insurance branch. Input the component included in employee payroll. Select the payroll period. Click View Component to open Edit Component page, and you can edit the payroll component here. By then, you will see the list of payroll components here along with its information of component name, component type, currency, default value, formula, tax, tax class, and whether received in net or gross. You may edit these components and save it. Back to the Select Payroll Template page. Determine the company bank account, employee bank, rounding type, and rounding. Once you've done set the template, click Apply Template. Input the basic salary along with the currency. Click this icon to edit the employee salary history, and you can see the history of employee salary here. Set the amount of latest salary along with the currency. Set the effective salary date. Then click Submit. Input the effective salary date, and give the remark if there's any change of effective salary date. Input the formula. Select Taxed if the payroll is taxed. Determine whether the salary is received in gross, net, or borne by company. Gross means that the employee gets the salary in gross and the tax will be borne by the employee. Net means that the employee gets the salary in net and the tax will be borne by the company. Borne by company means that the employee salary tax will be borne by the company. Determine whether the salary pay frequency is hourly, daily, or monthly. Input the insurance branch. Choose the tax location. Input the governor tax file number along with the date. Input the tax penalty borne by company. Choose the tax type. Determine the tax status, whether single, married, or divorced. Input the total of dependent. Here you will see the payroll components along with the value and effective date for each component. You can click this icon to edit the employee payroll field history. Edit the value here, effective date, and you will see the history here. Once you've done, click Submit. Select the payroll period of employee payroll. Click Set Payment Method to set the method of payroll payment for each payroll period. Set the rounding type, whether no rounding, accumulated round off, accumulated round up, or round up. Set the allocation type, whether amount, percentage, or payroll component. Set the bank account here. Choose the order number. Choose the company bank account and the employee bank account. You can also choose cash in both of these columns if the payroll will be paid in cash. Choose the currency. If you choose amount for the allocation type, then you need to input the allocation amount. If you choose percentage for the allocation type, then you need to input the allocation amount in percentage. And if you choose payroll component for the allocation type, then you need to choose the payroll component and input the allocation amount in percentage. Click this button to add more bank account if the payroll payment of this component will be split. Once you've set it, click Submit. Click Set Payroll Component to set the component of payroll for each payroll period. You can set the details of payroll component to be displayed here. Select All to show all details of payroll component, or you can select some certain details to be shown here. Click this icon to show the payroll component changes history. You can edit the default value of this payroll component along with the currency, the formula, or you can select Ignore Formula to ignore the formula. Input the component value. Select Update to update the data. Once you've done, click Submit. and you can submit the changes of employee payroll data. Besides updating the employee payroll data, you also need to update the employee data on career administration, time attendance, reimbursement, and loan. In career administration, you need to update the employee data especially regarding to the career transitions such as resignation, promotion, etc. In time attendance, reimbursement, and loan modules, you need to make sure that there is no outstanding request that has not been followed up. The second step is interface process. Interface processes are done to retrieve the data from specific modules which are time attendance, reimbursement, and loan. Let's start with time attendance. To begin with, go to time attendance. Attendance interface. Attendance interface process. Then you will see the attendance interface process page. Select the period. The start date and end date will appear automatically. Select the cost center and grade category. Select include display log to reprocess the logged attendance result of employee. Select all employees to process the attendance interface of all employees from the selected cost center and job grade. Clear the checkbox to select certain employee by clicking the employee name and move it to the right box. You can also select some employees by clicking the employee names while pressing CTRL button on the keyboard. Then you need to move it to the right box. Once it's done, click Process, and the attendance interface has been successfully processed. Now, the reimbursement interface process. Go to Reimbursement. Reimbursement interface. Interface process. Then you will see the reimbursement interface process page. Select the period. The start date and end date will appear automatically. Select all to process the reimbursement interface of all employees, but you can also select some certain employees by clicking the employee names while pressing CTRL button on the keyboard. Then you need to move it to the right box. You may also filter the employee name appeared on the box here by determining the filter from the available options. Once it's done, click Process, and the reimbursement interface has been successfully processed. The last is Loan interface process. Go to Loan. Process loan. Then you will see the process loan page. Select the payroll period and loan type. Determine whether the mode is process or rollback. Process is done to do the installment payment calculation before doing the payroll process, while rollback is used to roll back process result to the initial condition. Just in case of reimbursement or installment date of changes occur, select the name of employee whose loan will be processed. You can also select some employees by clicking the names while pressing CTRL button on the keyboard. Once it's done, click Calculate. After that you will see the loan details, and you need to click Process to process the loan. Then the loan has been successfully processed. The third step is Payroll process. After completing previous steps, the paymaster will process the payment. There are three types of payroll process here: payment process, back pay process, and severance payment. Let's start with payment process. Payment process is used to process payroll per payroll period. Select the payroll period. Select all if you want to process payroll payment of all employees. You can select certain employee by clicking the name and move it to the right box. You can also select some employees by clicking the names while pressing CTRL button on the keyboard. Then you need to move it to the right box. Once it's done, click Process. The payroll payment has been successfully processed, and you need to wait until the process is complete. Now, back pay process. Go to Payroll. Payroll process. Back pay process. Back pay process is used if there's any miscalculation in employee payroll data. Select payroll period. Select use previous calculation to process the back pay with previous calculation. Select it if you want to process the back pay with new calculation. Then you need to determine the start date and end date. Select all to process the back pay of all employees. You can select certain employee by clicking the name and move it to the right box. You can also select some employees by clicking the names while pressing CTRL button on the keyboard. Then you need to move it to the right box. Click Next. Select all to calculate all the payroll components. You can select certain component by clicking the selection and move it to the right box. You can also select some components by clicking the selections while pressing CTRL button on the keyboard. Then you need to move it to the right box. Click Calculate to calculate the back pay. Once it's calculated, open the Process tab. Select the employee in the component. Then you need to click Process to process the back pay. Besides, you can download the calculation data by opening the Download Calculation tab. Select the employee, the component, and the display type, whether detail or summary. If you choose detail, then you need to determine whether the total of component will be shown or not. After that, you can click Download to get the calculation printed. You can also edit the employee back pay data by opening the Edit page. Select the employee in the component, then click Display, and the employee back pay data will appear. Edit the value of new calculation and back pay. Remember to select the Update checkbox in order to update the data, then click Update at the bottom of the page, and the employee back pay data have been successfully updated. The last payroll process is severance payment. Go to Payroll. Payroll process. Severance payment. Severance payment is used to process severance payment for employee that will be terminated. Select the payroll period. Select the terminate dates. Determine whether the payment date is same as terminate date or specific date. If you choose specific date, then you need to determine the specific date. Select the employee. Once it's done, click Process, and the severance payment has been successfully processed. After processing payroll, you can generate payroll reports here. There are some payroll reports here, for example, monthly report, payroll variance report, and payroll history report. Let's start with monthly report. This report shows information about employee salary given every month by the company. Select payroll period. You may select more than one payroll period by clicking the periods while pressing Ctrl button on the keyboard. Determine periods month and year. Select the pay date. Determine the currency reference, whether respective, tax, or period. Choose respective to display the currency based on each employee setting. Choose tax to display the currency based on active tax policy. Choose period to display the currency based on the currency set in payroll period. Select only display taxable income to display only taxable income. Select the employee and component list. Determine whether the report will be displayed in detail or summary. Determine whether main cost center or multiple cost center that will be displayed on the report. Determine whether the currency will be displayed on the report or not. If you choose detailed report and main cost center, then you need to determine whether the attendance interface result will be displayed on the report or not. If you choose to display it, then you need to determine whether the attendance interface result legend will be displayed on the report or not. Once it's done, click Export to Microsoft Excel to print it in Excel format, or you can also click Export to PDF to print it in PDF format, or click Preview to preview the report. Now, Payroll Variance Report. Go to Payroll. Payroll Report. Payroll Variance Report. This report shows employee salary data comparison between two periods. Select the cost center. Choose the period code, and determine both of the two periods in month and year. Determine the report type, whether it will be displayed in detail or summary. Choose the employment status. If you choose detail for the report type, then you need to determine whether all the data of two periods it will be displayed, or only the variance. If you choose only variance, then you need to choose a component list, along with a specification. If you choose all, then you only need to determine a component list. Choose all to display all component list, or choose certain component by clicking the selection and move it to the right box. You can also choose more than one component by clicking the selections while pressing Ctrl button on the keyboard, then move it to the right box. Determine whether the data will be sorted by employee name, employee number, or cost center. Once it's done, you can click Export to Microsoft Excel to print it in Excel format. Click Export to PDF to print it in PDF format. Click Preview to preview the report. Next, Payroll History Report. Go to Payroll. Payroll Report. Payroll History Report. Payroll History Report allows users to display a list of all employees' process salary history on the payroll period in particular year. Select the year and cost center of which payroll history will be displayed on the report. Determine whether you want to display payroll history of active employee, inactive employee, or both active and inactive employees. Select all to select all employees from the selected employee status. Or you can select certain employee by clicking the employee name and move it to the right box. You can also select some employees by clicking the names while pressing Ctrl button on the keyboard. Then you need to move it to the right box. Select Display YTD to display the total of employee payroll data in the previous months, but if you don't select it, the system will display the employee payroll data of the last month only. Select Display SPT to display SPT in the report. Determine whether all the data or only the difference will be displayed on the report. Select Display Currency to display the currency. Once it's done, click Export to Microsoft Excel to print the report in Excel format. Click Export to PDF to print the report in PDF format. Click Preview to preview the report. The next step is Bank Transfer. Go to Payroll. Payroll Process. Bank Transfer Process. Here the authorized user can process the employee bank transfer and see the bank transfer data to be sent to the bank. To process the bank transfer, choose the bank transfer process, then determine the payroll period, along with the employee name. Click Process to process the bank transfer of selected employee for the selected payroll period. Wait until the process is complete. To see data of bank transfer, choose Bank Transfer Data. Select the download type of bank transfer to download the result of bank transfer that has been processed to be sent to the bank. Select the payroll period. You can select more than one payroll period by clicking the period while pressing Ctrl on the keyboard. Determine the period in month and year. Determine the pay date. Select bank group, employee status, and the death date. Once it's done, click Download. And the bank transfer data has been successfully downloaded. If you want to see the report of bank transfer, then select the download type of report. Determine the transfer type, whether cash or transfer by the bank. If you choose bank, then you need to select the company bank group, employee bank group, and determine whether the transfer will be separated per company bank transfer. Select the employee status, and click Preview to preview the report of the determined filter. Click this button to print the report. Click this button to print it in Excel format. Click this button to print it in PDF format. After the payroll payment process is done, the authorized user can preview and print the employee payslip. To print the payslip, go to Payroll, Payslip. To preview and print employee payslip in a certain period, choose Payslip tab. Select the payroll period, along with the month and year. Select the employee whose payslip you want to print. Determine whether the payslip is sorted by division, employee name, employee number, last name, or job title, and determine whether you want to display attendance interface result or not. Once it's done, click Preview to preview the payslip. Click this button to print the payslip. Click this button to print it in PDF format. To preview and print payslip report in a certain period of payroll process, choose Payslip Acknowledgement Report. Select the payroll period, along with the month and year. Select the employee, and click Preview to preview the report. Click this button to print the report. Click this button to print it in Excel format. Click this button to print it in PDF format. Besides Payslip, you can also process and download the Journal of Payroll. Go to Payroll, Payroll Process, Payroll Journal. To process the payroll journal, choose Process. Select the journal name. Determine the payroll period, in month and year. Once it's determined, the payroll transaction will appear automatically, showing the payroll period and payment date. Determine the process date of payroll journal. Once it's done, click Process, and the journal has been processed successfully. To download the journal that has been processed, choose Download. Select the journal name. Determine the payroll period in month and year. Determine the file type you want to download. Once it's done, click Download, and the journal has been downloaded successfully. The last step is Close Period. After all the processes of employee payroll have been done, close the payroll period in order to start the next period. Go to Payroll, Payroll Process, Close Payroll Period. Select the payroll period that you want to close, then click Close Period. Then the payroll period detail will appear, and then you need to click the Close Period button at the bottom. The payroll period has been closed successfully, and this is the end of a payroll cycling a period. To process the next period, you can start all over again from updating the employee payroll data.